Well, hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of Project LS400. Yeah, it's been a while since I last worked on the Lexus LS400. I had a small side project but I couldn't finish it. I'm coming back to that in a second. And there are two larger projects that I need to work on, but that's something for later because the car currently is in winter storage and I need to have the car out on the road and registered to tackle those problems. The first is the acceleration problem, the stumbling and hesitation. I have to look into that, but I need to have the car running, as you may understand. And also the water leakage is something I need to address, but yeah, I need some more time for that to disassemble interior and all. But anyway, I have two projects for this episode. One is already on my bench over here and the other will be at the car. I had to rewatch the previous episode. I even lost count of the episode numbers, but anyway, in the previous episode you've seen me working on this over here, the climate control. I installed a new LCD screen. It works, but it starts to fade away after a few minutes, so that's something I need to fix later. But when I installed this whole unit back into the car in the previous episode, all of a sudden the LCD screen, the large LCD screen of the radio, wasn't illuminated anymore. So I installed new bulbs. That didn't work. Then I found new small bulbs from a model train store, installed that didn't work, so I left that, and that's where this episode starts. So a couple of days after I uploaded the previous episode, I got a message via Instagram from a viewer whose name is James, and he goes by the handle Iconic Lens on Instagram. I'll also leave a link to my Instagram account in the description box. And he watched the episode and he told me he had the repair manual for the radio that goes, the Pioneer radio that's in my Lexus LS400. And well, he sent it to me, for which I'm very grateful, so thank you, James. And here it is. Release date is September 1998. So this for the first generation, and well, the model number corresponds only, if you look at the close-up, this radio over here, not sure if the camera picks this up, but that doesn't have the RDS display. But anyway, I found it very usable, and he sent me the PDF, and I'll leave a download link in the description box. So if any of you can use it, you can download it via my site for free. I took a look in this and I found the exploded view of the radio and the illumination system, and that's when I found two things that I completely missed. And yeah, you miss those things when you don't have the manual. And the important thing is I found the replacement number, the part number for the illumination bulbs, and I also found out that they are no longer available via Pioneer, so they're completely out of stock. And the second thing that I discovered is that the illumination of the radio, of the buttons and the screens, doesn't work on 12-volt, it works on 8-volt. So what I did, I started looking for 8-volt bulbs. I couldn't find them anywhere. I found some 7.5-volt bulbs. They didn't work. They were much too dim. And I found some 9-volt bulbs, but they were much too bright and they got really hot when I attached them to my power supply that I have. So I've been looking for 4 weeks until I found a small shop. It was on eBay, and that shop has the exact right bulbs in store. They were expensive. Let me show you. They come from, let me open up the letter. Oh, here is their business card. 10N Auto Electronics. I'll leave a link in the description, and they also have a YouTube page, and I'll make sure to upload a card. But anyway, here they are, and I believe there are 10 of those tiny bulbs, those 8-volt bulbs, and they should be exactly the same. And as far as I can see at this moment, I haven't opened the bag yet, they are exactly the same. I'm gonna hook up one to my power supply to see how bright they are, but this should be them. So that's one of the first things I want to do in this episode, that's the main project for this episode, installing those tiny bulbs in the Pioneer radio. But first, let's test one. Let's hook it up. I'm super curious to see how bright they are. Now I'm running at 8.8 volts. Well, it's not as bright as I expected, but I think once it's in the radio and it's in the dark, this will be enough. So now that we know that the bulbs are working and they appear to be bright enough, I think they'll work once they're in the radio. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to disassemble this unit, take the radio apart. I need to take the front circuit board out and then solder the new bulbs onto there, and then install it back in the car and see how this works. So I'll set the camera up over there, and I'll put you in time-lapse mode so you can see how you take this apart, and I'll insert directions in screen, so if any of you wants to do the same, you know how to take this apart. Okay folks, so these are the old bulbs out, and those were the replacement bulbs I ordered. I believe these came from the model train shop. Anywho, there's one difference that you can tell, and I hope it shows on camera. The thing will focus on it, but these replacement bulbs have a very tiny drop on the bottom here, a little glass bulb, and the original ones didn't have that. And these are the ones that I ordered, and they are in fact exactly the same as the ones that came out, so that gives me confidence. So now I have to put this little green sock or condom over there, and I also kept these small silicone feet that they utilized, and this is how it sits with this tiny silicone feet. And now I have to bend these towards the circuit board, and I'm always using one of the small skewers. Let me zoom in on this. I'm not sure if this is completely in focus, but the problem you have is that these leads, they jump back a little bit. So what I do, I use a skewer to hold them down. When the solder is still liquid. So my skewer started to stink a little bit. That's how much heat I got in there, but these glass bulbs should be able to handle that. So now only thing I need to do is snip off those leads with my tiny little cutter. Let me zoom out. This is my Christmas present to myself. I found a set of 4 tiny little pliers. There's this one cute little cutter in there, and it's really nice to have for this kind of work. Well, there it is, assembled again for the 4th or 5th time. So the next thing to do is to install it in the LS400 and see how this works. Anyway, it's getting later here. I'm going in, so I'll see you tomorrow. Well, that used to be the spot where my Lexus was parked, but apparently the woodworkers have set up shop here. The farmhouse is currently under renovation, and there is the Lexus, and it's extremely dirty. They pushed it back, and I'm going to assume they done that in a decent manner. The car is dirty because over its normal parking place is a resting spot for an owl that it has its winter shelter in the farmhouse. So what I'm going to do is uncover the car so I have a little bit of light. I brought my equipment, so I'm going to set up shop and going to work on the car right now. Okay, let's try to install the radio back into the car. Starting off by the antenna cable, which I usually forget as I'm starting with it. So that's everything connected. Now let's see if I can get it in, because that signal amplifier is somewhat in the way. Yeah, this is how it should go. Okay, that's in. Let's give the display a test. Yep, that works. It's a bit dim, but at least it works. Put the studio lamp away. You can see, it shows on camera, it looks like I have 3 varieties of color, but these 3 are the same. It's a bit more green, but it's much better than it was. Yeah, this works for me. I'm happy with that, so that's one side project done. Whew, now let's install the rest of this. So that's in. Now comes the lower part, the ashtray and the buttons for the washer, traction control and heated seats. There it is. Last but not least, the shifter cover slides in the front. You push it down all the way, then slide it in, and then clip it in place. And now the whole thing is back together. Buttons work, yeah. And that works. See if the ashtray illumination works. And it does. Okay. Let's give the radio a test.
Gewoon de vermoeidheid.
Ja, dat snap ik. Het was wel een mooie carnaval, begrijp ik.
Ja, zeker.
Mooi dan, Jesse. Hey,
everything works. Still no stereo reception, but that's a project for the future. Okay, now let's head over to the rear left wheel and fix the brake squeal. Okay, it's super cramped in here, but we have to work with it. So reverse the car, and I'm gonna jack it up, remove the wheel, and then take the brake caliper apart and put some extra peanut butter on there. Alrighty, well, this is how things look like. There's a lot of rust on here, didn't expect that. There's a little bit of rust there. Looking at the brake caliper and the brake pad, it does seem dry. Not sure I forgot to do that, but anyway, this is the air suspension strut. The paint has been holding up really well, and all my repairs up there too, and that was a year ago and a boatload of work, but the wheel well looks really nice. Happy with this. Gonna look into this later, but let's take the brake caliper apart first. So it's been a while, so I forgot about bolt sizes. I thought it was a 14, and that appears to be the case. There is unfortunately a lot of rust on this bolt. But it comes off. And this may have something to do with me cleaning all the bolt heads. Now, this should tilt backwards. It does. Yes, it appears that yours truly forgot to apply enough copper grease. So I'm gonna remove the brake pads. Yeah, it could use a little bit of grease. They're completely dry. Let's start with the rear one first. With the brake sensor, yeah, that's dry. No wonder that was squealing. Let me zoom in a little bit. A little bit on those ears of the pad. That's where the brake wear sensor is. Where the piston hits the brake pad. There are some anti-squeal pads on here, but a little bit of copper grease is cheap insurance against squealing. Caliper itself, thin coat on the piston. This one can slide back in. There it is. Not forget those spreader springs that go in here. There we are. Do the final inspection to see if everything is okie dokie. Oh yeah, to show you this. Those are the height sensor links. They seem to hold up quite well. As you can see, they can move freely and rotate. So that's bueno. That was just a matter of putting the wheel back on. So that's the wheel back on. Well, I wanted to film a final clip here, but the woodworkers and carpenters started working. They made a lot of noise, so we have to do with these tilts. This is the Lexus back undercovers. Anyway, I'm glad I finally got the radio LCD illumination fixed, and I have been able to find the right bulbs for that. And well, I'm pretty confident that the copper grease on the brake pads will stop the squealing, but we'll only know in a couple of weeks or maybe months when I got the car back on the road, and then I'll start working on the car again. Anyway, I hope you liked following me along. If you did, please let me know, give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below in the comment section. And for now, I would like to thank you for watching very much, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye!